Awesome. Good morning. Good morning. It's Pause with Elizabeth Elenor. And once a month I'm doing these guest speaking experiences and I'm actually really enjoying them. So today we've got Chelsea here and Chelsea's going to talk to us about hormone health because oh my gosh, especially I don't know about you ladies, but getting to this age, it's been a massive shift for me as I've moved into perimenopause and following Chelsea and hearing all the things that she's been up to has been like, I need to get this woman on to support us because in relationships, it's really important for us to be in our peak condition with our hormones so we don't turn like we're just talking about. Some women turn into these banshees, right? Totally screaming, losing the plot, like no sleep deprived, all the things. So Chels, love for you to share with us who you are and why we should talk to you, why we should listen to you.
It is so good to be here, Elizabeth. Thank you for having me. So my name is Chelsea. I'm actually a corporate dropout. I've just left my corporate job because my hormone health coaching business was growing too fast. I had to heal my hormones myself. It took me about 10 years to get there because what I found is not only is there a lot of misinformation about hormones, but we're just not really getting the support that we need from the traditional medical system, right? And I think most women have a hormone balance and don't realize it. And so as soon as I was able to heal myself, and what that looked like for me, what it showed up as was it was weight gain around the belly, it was trouble sleeping at night. So I was exhausted during the day, and then I would lay in bed till 1 a.m. With my eyes just bolted open as soon as I got in bed. And I don't know if anyone can relate to that, but that's how it felt for me. Ravenous cravings, big swings in mood. Week over week, I felt like a different person. And, it turns out I did end up having type 2 diabetes and PCOS, but I didn't know that. Like, I just thought that it was normal to always be craving sugar. I thought it was normal to be tired because everyone else is talking about being tired and wanting chocolates.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like all of us have, like it becomes a normal thing, is part of who everyone seems to be. And ladies, we've got quite a few people watching. So if you've got anything that you want to ask Chelsea as we go along, please put in the chat and I'll do my best to get her to answer those questions for you. So and do you relate? Throw in the chat, do you relate to those sugar cravings, those late nights, not being able to sleep? And those bloated belly, because I know that that's what you supported me with, right? Is that bloated belly? I've never had a belly all my life, and that's something that I found out through you is actually part of the process, right? So
Mhm.
tell us a little bit more. What changed for you? How did you started looking into it all, obviously from an alternative point of view.
So it's funny, I actually started my healing journey myself. So I was playing Dr. Google, trying to figure it out on my own, trying different diets, keto, paleo. I'm an athlete. So I grew up playing ice hockey. I played in college. I was the captain of my team. And after that, I was a fitness instructor and I did CrossFit and I did all the exercises and I was very active, very strong. But I found I just wasn't looking the way I wanted to. I didn't look or feel the way I wanted to, right? And so that's when I started different diets and they just weren't working for me, right? And all of the traditional advice, like eat less, exercise more, just seemed like it wasn't really stacking up. So after doing my own research for years and years and years, I finally, it's funny, I didn't actually get the help I needed until I saw a skin specialist because I went to get a facial and she suggested that I work on my internals. And I was like, well, what does that mean? And so she made some tweaks to my diet. She got me on some supplements to help calm my nervous system. And I saw results very fast, very, very fast. Like started sleeping through the night straight away. Um, started my bloating started to decrease. And then I was like, you know what, this is starting to make sense. This more alternative health coach approach is working for me. So I started learning about testing my gut. So I got my gut tested by a functional medicine doctor, and turns out I had some yeast and bacteria overgrowth that I had to address. And that was a product that was also related to my stress because when your stress is high, your digestion shuts down. It's not as strong. So that's where
Mm.
the yeast and bacteria can kind of come into play. And there's a lot of other factors that affect that. But it's funny. Sometimes we we don't arrive at that solution that actually works until we've tried everything else.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that you supported me with was, that it was looking at having tea and coffee, and changing that process, for the cortisol levels.
Mm.
But isn't it interesting that it was a skin specialist that got you into that space? And so one of the things that I know, I follow you on TikTok, and you have some amazing tips and tricks, and all the things that you support people with and women in that on that channel. Um, what is it that you can share with us to support women that is some of the general sort of basic foundation stuff that you would, support someone if they were going through hormonal? Well, actually, let's start there. What are some of the symptoms? What are some of the things that people think are normal that are actually hormone related?
Weight gain around the belly is a big one. So belly,
Yeah.
hips, thighs, or weight gain when not a lot has changed about your diet. You're kind of eating the same stuff, but you're starting to pack on weight. That's a sign. Big swings in energy or mood. So that could be, the way your hormones are supposed to look is you're supposed to wake up alive and alert. You're not supposed to need a coffee as soon as you pop out of bed. You're supposed to feel good, ready to go. And that's called, we typically trace cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, but it's not a bad thing. Like having cortisol is very essential. Cortisol is what keeps us alive and alert, but it rises during the day and then it drops off at night, right? So a lot of people whose hormones are imbalanced, it starts to kind of reverse the curve. So they start to pick up energy in the afternoon, and then by 9 o'clock, their eyes are just like pinging open. So that's something we call adrenal fatigue. And that's just a hormone imbalance, right? And so I would say if you're really tired during the day and then wired at night, or if you're tired all the time and just feel like you don't have that get up and go that you used to, um, any changes in your cycle. So, a cycle is supposed to be anywhere from, it can be as little as 26 or as much as 32 before you kind of want to ring the alarm bells and say, well, what's going on with my cycle? If you're a naturally cycling woman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, any menopausal symptoms are a sign of a hormone imbalance. So the transition to menopause is actually meant to be quite smooth if things are operating as they should. So the hot flashes, the discomfort, big cravings, big swings in energy, those are a sign that hormones are imbalanced. And general irritability, changes in libido. So if you just don't feel like you want sex with your partner, that's a sign that the hormones might be a little bit off. And craving. So either craving salt or sugar. Those are the most common that I see in my practice.
Yeah. And also, I'm assuming you'd see the odd, like as you were saying before, your skin
Mhm.
not looking vibrant and alive as well would
Yeah,
be another sign. Yeah. So dull, and even odd pimples and stuff when you're in your 50s is another sign, right? I'm assuming.
definitely. And what I see is typically hormonal related acne is often around the chin and the jaw.
Yeah. Yeah, right. So ladies, is anyone we've got quite a few on here, and as I was saying before, if you've just jumped on, love to for you to say hi and where you're watching from, but also if you relate or if there's anything that you would love to get Chelsea to support you with, or a question that you might want to have answered. So if someone's just starting out on this journey, they're going, yes, all of those signs seem to be me in some form or another. What would you suggest? What are some of the things that you recommend to people?
I think the most important thing is that there's a desire to change, right? Because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, balancing your hormones does require lifestyle change and it does
Mm.
require self-inquiry and it does require getting closer to yourself and really evaluating what you're putting into your body, what you're putting out of your body. Because at the end of the day, stress can set your hormones off, right? And stress is something I define. It's not just an environmental stress where, oh, I have a work deadline or I'm traveling today, whatever that is. It's also just when your inputs don't match your outputs, right? So when you're not eating the right food, or you're doing too much, or you're giving too much, or you're not resting enough. Like there's so many different parts of hormone balance. So let's unpack it a bit, right? the best way to balance your hormones is to live like a human and be healthy, right? And so one of the ways I do that, because I specialize in working with really busy women who are in big roles. They're often mothers of two. Some of them are business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, and they don't have a lot of time, which I understand. I'm working several jobs. I totally get that. But at the end of the day, one of the easiest, let's just talk about some of the easiest swaps, right? Number one, really looking at your caffeine intake. And it's really tempting to want to turn to that as a solution, but it can actually make it worse. And especially if you're having your coffee before your breakfast, I always say, pull your coffee after breakfast or just take it out for a couple weeks and see how you feel. Most of my clients find that they don't miss it. Um, and the second thing would be to really look at your meal time. So this is something the timing is actually really great because if there's any women who really want to learn how to eat for hormone balance and eat for results, I teach women how to eat, what time to eat, when to eat in a 3-week boot camp. There's one launching today, so the time couldn't be better. But what I do is I basically bring these women in, look at their symptoms, and say, okay, let's do breakfast between this time and this time. And let's commit to regular meal times because a lot of women are just like, oh, I'll eat a banana at 6 a.m. and then
Well,
won't eat
well,
anything till 2.
well, especially when we're busy, right? Like
Mhm.
I personally, I miss breakfast, and I personally like I can get to the, 2 o'clock. I'm like, oh, I haven't eaten,
Mm.
so if it's not a priority and we're busy, it's like, how do we bring that in? So, we'll have to talk about your boot camp, like get the details in a minute. But yeah, what else do you sort of share with people? One of the things that I know, just I cut out because I wasn't having coffee at home. I was having tea.
Mm.
Um, but when we went out, we'd have, I'd have a coffee with Tim, and we go out a lot, right? And so I didn't realize how much it was affecting my body, the caffeine. So I've cut it out. Like I'm having a chai, dandelion chai at the moment. So I've completely cut out caffeine, and I've noticed a big difference. So
What have you noticed? Has it been energy levels or feelings of anxiousness or less?
well, no, I didn't necessarily have the anxiousness, but I am, well, that I was aware of. And I think that this is one of the things, right? Is busy, successful women are usually hold a big capacity, right? So when we've got a lot, we can hold so much energy and so much doing, we can hold such a big capacity. We don't necessarily have the same, we're not as sensitive to the stress because we've got a bigger capacity for it. At one stage I was
Mm.
looking after my mum, running 2 businesses, like the capacity was huge before I realized, oh, my skin is dehydrated, and like I'm not sleeping well and all of those things. So what I noticed just from taking the caffeine out was, the bloating has shifted. So
Mm.
my belly's gone down, not completely, but it's changed. I did notice a noticeable change, and sleeping better, like
Mm.
sleeping throughout the night, not waking up to go to the toilet is, like I might every so often, but I generally now sleep all the way through, which
Mm.
is which is awesome.
That's an amazing result. And that means your
Mm,
cortisol is starting to come back into balance because the coffee was
mm.
probably just keeping it a little bit too high, where your digestion was starting to shut down and you weren't able to fully rest at night. So that's a great result.
Mm. And so I've got here, Sorel has put, every time I try to cut out caffeine, I end up with headaches.
That's
So
super
that's a
common.
big one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so in that situation, what I do is I generally don't tell people to go cold turkey, because you're just relying on the caffeine. So I will typically wean clients off of the coffee if the desire is there. Some people, if they just move the coffee, just one small coffee after breakfast and just reduce the quantity and have it on a full stomach, that usually is enough to solve the problem. But I have other clients who don't miss coffee at all after boot camp. Like they cut it out and they're like, I don't need that at all. And they end up having decafs, which is totally not believable for some people. Like they can't imagine a situation in which they don't need coffee until they feel what it feels like to have real energy and things change really fast.
Yeah. And so that's what like I know that your previous job, you were in corporate, you were working for Crocs, and you've worked with some really big corporate industries, and you travel a lot. So, you know, you have the experience of this for your clients. Especially, I know Sorel has got quite a few, like she's a busy woman with a couple of businesses.
Mm.
And I'm looking at the people on here and going, yes, all of these women are women, that are either busy mums or in corporate or whatever. So can you tell us some of the stories of some of your experiences with clients and what sort of results they've been getting?
So the one that's most closely probably to like Sorel's situation, right, is one of my clients, Jen. She's a mom of two, CEO of basically a real estate development company that she it's a family business, right? And so she's very involved in the drama of the family and of this massive like $40 million business. And so she's very busy kind of bouncing around from property to property and two kids at home. She's the primary breadwinner in the house. And so she just a lot of pressure had to be in her masculine a lot. And I'm sure you guys talk all about, feminine, masculine energetics. And that's something that we bring into health coaching, right? Because what I see with women with hormone imbalances is they're often in their masculine and they're overperforming and they're overgiving. And that's where the hormones start to become a little bit imbalanced because they're not supporting themselves. Like the inputs are not matching the outputs, like I said. So
Mm, mm,
there's just too many demands on their physical body. So what we did is she didn't do a boot camp, but she did my signature 6-month program. Came in the first 3 weeks, we cleaned up her diet, tweaked some of the caffeine inputs, got her on a couple of supplements to help her just get some better results. We do a detox protocol to really remove a lot of the toxins from your tissues that are also affecting hormone balance. And she is down 25 pounds. She lost about 10 in her first month. And I wouldn't say she wasn't a overweight person. She was just a bit puffy, right? So she
mm.
was carrying some extra weight in the middle. Her jeans were not fitting. She was not really sleeping well, super anxious. She was on an antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication. So month one, weight came off. Month two, more weight came off. She transitioned off her antidepressant, transitioned off her anti-anxiety med because she was feeling so good. Um, and I thought one of the most interesting transformations with her was her relationship with her husband started to change. She started to be a little bit more clear on her needs and requirements and
Mm.
comfortable asking her husband for support. And she said her
I'd
relationship
say
was
that's
a little
like
bit better.
clarity, right? Like
Mhm.
clarity, she's now more clear on what her desires are because she's clearer in her head. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Because, brain fog is another thing that we haven't talked about. And I often see that with my clients who do have imbalanced hormones, right? Or who are just very, really busy or really stressed. Once you have that clarity of mind, you're just operating on a different frequency. You're able to move faster, be more productive, feel more connected and present in your relationships with whether it's kids or a partner. And I know I personally didn't meet my partner until I did this work myself. My libido was not healthy. I didn't feel super connected with myself. So I think it just all goes together in this beautiful little package, which is really
Mm.
special. And she's intimate with her husband again, and they hadn't had sex in months at the time she came into the program, and now it's a much more regular thing. So there's so much healing that can happen I think when you work with someone like yourself, Elizabeth, where you're helping women with their relationships and step into themselves, healing the energetic body and healing the physical body, when you kind of couple them together, results just come so fast.
Absolutely. So, just giving us can you give us a little bit of a rundown of this boot camp? So perfect timing, which happens to us all the time. So, can you just share a little bit about what the boot camp involves?
Yeah. So 3 weeks, you basically learn how to eat, what to eat, when to eat. And I give you, I compiled all the hacks and tips and tricks and recipes that I use as a busy person to make this as easy as possible. So, we have a call every week. Most people don't actually, the call, for example, is this morning in Australia or tonight if you're in the US. But most people don't even attend the calls. They just rewatch on double time. And you get all your nutrition plans. You get the exact formula that 85 women I've coached in the last 10 months have used to lose average of 7 pounds in 3 weeks. And it's not what you think it is. It's not a huge reductionist diet where you're eating 800 calories a day. That's not my MO. My MO is balancing hormones and creating health in the body so that you can release some of the inflammation weight. And that's the kind of weight that comes off very quickly. And it's quite sustainable, right? So there's a lot of misinformation around diet and how to lose weight, especially for women, because we're special, right? Like we have a different set of requirements than the Chad Brads who are out there saying, just eat less and exercise more. And you're like, but Chad, it's not working.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the things that I know you talk about too is the cardio thing, right? Um because we are told that just go out and exercise more and you'll lose weight and tone up and all those things. But as you said, we are quite unique, our beautiful little bodies. And so being able to work, and I've heard that before, that to rest more, to support your body in a different way
Mhm.
so that you're balancing your hormones when you're exercising is a different system for us, right?
Totally different. And when you're doing, for most women who come into the boot camp, they're stressed. Their hormones are not balanced. And that's very evident from some of the symptoms that they come in with. So I'm like, take out exercise. And that doesn't mean you're not moving. That means you're walking. You're maybe doing some weights. You're not spiking your cortisol through high intensity interval training like the berries. And I'm a spin instructor, right? So I love the cardio, but my hormones are balanced. For most women, I'm like, you can get back to the cardio, but let's first heal your adrenals. Let's heal you, get you more nutrients, get you healthy, and then you can go back to the cardio. And most women lose. I mean, these women are losing. I had one woman who lost 12 pounds in 3 weeks, and she was not exercising at all. She was just walking.
Yeah.
So it's totally possible. These results are real when you take a more scientific approach.
Yeah, yeah. And so, if anyone watching is interested in the boot camp, how do people get in contact with you, Chelsea?
I will. So I'm on Instagram. Healthy with Chelsea is my Instagram. So you can follow me there. I have a link in my bio, but why don't I can just grab a link right now and pop it.
Yeah, just throw it in. Jenny's put here that she finds fasting is good for losing weight and hormones, etc. as well. So, there's quite a few people that have put, bits and pieces in here. So, um,
Mhm.
if you can give us some details in the comments that people can go and check out. And ladies, I also would suggest that you follow Chelsea on TikTok because she's got some great information on there as well. I love the sauna thing that you've got. That looks like it's super fun. So thank you so much, Chels, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. And if you're watching the replay and you didn't get the opportunity to ask anything and you want to, please just put your question in, but tag Chelsea in the comments so that she can come back around and answer anything. The links are now there for you to go and grab. Definitely follow Chelsea. She's got some great information, and I've been watching. We're in a business community together, and I've been watching the results that her clients have been getting, and they're just super awesome. Sorrel saying thank you, which is awesome. Take care, ladies, and lovely to have you, Chels. It's been a
Thank
pleasure.
you.